Now it's time to take a look at the O-line. We've got 3 drills coming up for you here. Tom, tell us about the first one.
Well, we call this the window drill. Some people call it shadow drill. Basically, it's an offensive line drill versus pass rush defenses. What we try to do is get the guys working their legs. We don't use the hands in the first part of the drill, and we just want to teach our offensive linemen to stay in front of the defensive player. And the defensive players aren't going upfield, they're just working from side to side.
Neil, drill number 2.
Drill number 2, then we're going to, you said the mirror drill, right?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Incorporate the hand fighting.
Yeah, then we're going to go to the hand fighting where, again, it's like combat when the offensive line is trying to get the defensive line's hands off them, not let them grab on, because defense can grab onto us. We're using our hands to combat that.
Number 3, drill number 3.
Well, normally what we do is then we get together with the defensive linemen, and then we prefer to be service with them. But for today, we're going to use our own guys to do a one-on-one pass rush, and we're going to try to go from the mirror drill to the hand fighting drill, and just to let the defense linemen who are played by the offense linemen to actually put a pass rush move on, and we'll see how put it all together and see if our guys are ready for it.
Now, is there any sort of adjustment that you guys need to make coaching Canadian versus American because of the 1 yard off the ball? Because we've got community guys in there looking in, and we've got high school guys looking in. What sort of adjustments do you have to make in these drills?
Well, I think you've got the yard off the ball, which again is a little bit of space that gives the defensive player a little bit of room to move. As an offensive line, we want to take up that space as quick as possible. And like I always said in the American rule, usually the second step could be the winner. In the Canadian, it's almost the third step is the winner, when we go in the battle with against the defense. But that little bit of space is a lot of space for the defense to do their stuff, where we got to try and make that space up real tight and bring it in tight really quickly.
It's a lot of space, but you can make the adjustments in these drills, can't you?
Well, absolutely, and the big thing we try to do from the offensive line perspective is to teach patience and not to be too aggressive. And you see a lot of that in high school, where the offensive lineman thinks they're going to surprise the D lineman and attack them more like a run block. And it does work from time to time, but most of the time it doesn't, And so we have to teach patience, good technique, good body position. And really, there is a point though where they're coming at you where you have to submit a real hit. You have to pop the guy coming to slow down his momentum.
Well, let's go to drill number 1. Okay, so this is the shadow drill.
This is the shadow drill. This is you're trying to get the offensive linemen to not use their hands, but just to be making sure their feet are moving as fast as they can, left to right, and you're trying to take up the body of the defender. A lot of times, if you put the hands in, they'll start to lean forward. This teaches them to keep better posture, and then, like I say, usually you add the hands to the next part of the drill. But right now, we want them just to be using their brains and their legs and making sure that their hips and their shoulders stay square, and relative in parallel there too, so they're not leaning forward. Like I say, and the hands behind the back, it just kind of sets them off a little bit helps them force a balance piece. A little bit of mind and muscle happening here.
Where should your foot position be relative to your shoulder position? Should they be under or wider than?
No, they should be under you, because you're going to move left to right. If you get too wide, you slow down, and then it's too much moving. Then you're leaning your shoulders. You're starting to pull. You want your shoulders and your hips, everything all in line. You got to get quick and be fast. There's a perfect example. This guy's trying really hard to stay in front of him. Guy's moving a little fast, which is okay, but he's staying nice and square, not getting too over thing. Because you start bending, then your defender's going to get you.
You talk about bending. What sort of degree, what sort of angle should you be compressed at? What sort of what?
It depends on the size of the athlete. I always tell the guys, especially the bigger guys, I tell them to play skinny and get wide. If they get too wide too fast, because they're such big bodies, it's harder for them to move. The other thing is I try and keep the feet where the shoulders, about shoulder lengths apart when you're moving back and forth. But you have to be anchored. You got to have your feet down. You'll watch here a little bit on the toes. I would tell him that you want to be more solid on your feet, because you're on your toes. If he was to hit you, you're not going to be off balance. Again, trying pointing the toes forward, sometimes the inside of the balls of your feet as your anchors into the ground. Some coaches say you should think your feet are almost 6 inches into the ground, that you're anchored so you can take the hit. But in this drill, we're moving side to side.
So in this drill, we want you guys to keep that post leg back. If you're on the left side or if it's on the right side, keep it back and slide in the same position, okay? Can you do it again?
Really important to be bending the knees. You're bending the knees, not at the waist. Again, with some of the big guys, it's easier for them to bend at the waist than at the knees. But offensive linemen, we play down low. Your knees have to be bent, and that's just as like shock absorbers to take the hit when they come. That your knees work like springs.
That's the way to pick up on that. Good job, Riara.
Now, if you're running a community program, you're running a high school program, how often are you running this drill with your players?
Yeah, if you're a passing team, you got to do it a lot because this is more a little bit of a pass protection piece. I know a lot of, like I say, younger groups, they'll go with just kind of a slide group where the whole offensive line works together. This is more when we're going like one-on-one. If you're doing a 5-step drop back for the quarterback where it's true pass protection, then you're into a position where you're posting and you're kick stepping where you have to be in line with your guy. Again, younger groups will go with a slide. It's an easier thing where you got 5 guys all moving at the same time for the protection.
Now, I noticed on that last one, the O-lineman was turning a little bit. Do you want him to be going side to side, not turning?
Shoulders. You want square shoulders. As soon as you turn your shoulders, you actually give a doorway for the defensive lineman to beat you. You want to stay very square, very square. And again, like Coach Kudaba was saying, one foot may be back as you got your post up front with most weight. That doesn't mean because your foot goes back that you turn your shoulders. You still need to stay square. See, I'd say he's playing a little high. Like I say, his knees, he should be playing down a little bit lower. Just once you stand up in the defense line, there's that yard play again. That if you're standing up, that yard is he's gonna hammer you.
Okay, now let's go to the second part of the drill.
Okay, next 2 guys. Second part of the drill, guys. Give me 2 in each. So now we're going to get the hands involved. So defensive guys, this time your job is to try to grab, if I'm playing in your spot, you got your hands not behind your back now, they're in elbows in, thumbs up, and I'm the offensive guy, but the defensive guy, your job is to try to grab the shoulders and turn them. Okay, you're not going upfield and putting an arm under move or anything like that at this point. You're still working side to side, but we're trying to get you to use your hands now a little bit.
So now we move from the feet to the hands. We actually get the hands involved here.
Absolutely. It's a big one. The defender can grab onto you, and we want to keep his hand. He's trying to grab onto you to get a read, and we don't want his hands on us. So he's trying to give him a pop with a punch. We call it a punch. His elbow should be in tighter. Again, his hands are up nice. They should be right up and almost like at the chest level. But again, defender's trying to grab to make a move. They're going to pull or they're going to rip, different types of defensive move. Offensive lineman wants to give him that pop to take his momentum away too. Especially if you got a big guy going against a little guy, the big guy is going to try and bull rush that guy. That initial pop with the punch takes his momentum away so you can reset your feet and you can get in a better position. Again, same rules apply. Knees should be bent, should be square.
In terms of deficiencies, in terms of bad habits, what comes out in this drill?
Bad habits are hands, lazy hands coming down, elbows out. We call it supermanning when they go to punch and they wind up. As soon as you wind up, if a defender's fast, he's going to take advantage of that. And like I say, standing up is a big one. Like you got to stay low and you want to hit him in the chest. You want to take that. You've got to have an aiming point, which is usually the middle of the chest, and that's your aiming point. That's where your eye should be. The other piece that happens is guys will drop their head. They go for the lunge. As soon as you go for a lunge, he'll grab and go around you. You got to make sure your O-linemen, when they're up against a pass blocker, that they don't lunge. They stay patient. Tom said it earlier. Staying patient and just doing the punch to take the momentum away.
So you can see sometimes when the hands drop, you can see sometimes when the head drops.
Yeah.
How do you actually correct those bad habits?
I went to a camp a while ago, and one of the best ones I saw for the head drop is for a kid to put a baseball cap on backwards, and he should be cocking his head back and feel the brim of the hat on the back of his shoulder blades. And as soon as you take your head back, then your head's going down to keep it cocked. And also for protection of his head, too, so we don't want his head involved there. It's not for a danger piece, too. Shoulders and elbows, there's all kinds of things. I've seen guys put sponges under their elbows, and if they drop the sponge, obviously their elbows have come out. Some people wrap the hands. They put like an elastic piece around the hands, so it doesn't really keep the hands up, but it makes the player cautious that he has to have those hands up, just as a reminder through a drill when you kind of go through a walkthrough drill.
But at the same time,
a lot of things they can do here, what we're doing right now. Kids can do this without having a defender there. These are things they can do in their backyard. These are things they can do in front of a mirror. Or we tell some of our guys for part of their warm down when they're in the weight room is that they can do that in front of a mirror or even just on the floor, is practice their footsteps and their posture. Have somebody critique them and stand there and hold it. It's very uncomfortable to bend your knees and have your elbows in and your hands up. You hold that for a couple minutes. It gets very uncomfortable, but it's trying to get that kind of memory muscle, that brain muscle kind of remembering of where you are, make it easier.
And I would think, too, that video, if you're a coach, if you have the ability to shoot one of these, is a great way to show a player how to correct some of their deficiencies.
Absolutely. Almost all our individual drills at UBC are all filmed, and we right down to the footsteps, to the inches, to the of where their feet are, where their shoulders are, where their elbows are. Video is a great way to kind of look at stuff. It's also a great way for a player who thinks he's doing it right to see himself and realize he's not. Realize that his elbows are out. Realize that he is reaching or his head is down.
And thanks to camcorders at any level, you can use that and apply.
Hey, UBC, we have a few of us coaches that use our iPhones just to tape it. So, and again, it's just to show somebody really quickly what they're doing.
So the offensive guys with their backs to the coaches. Okay, the offensive guy, you're not expecting a move right away. He's going to do a little bit of shuffle, a little bit of grabbing, but then he's going to try to beat you. He's going to beat you when coach or me put our hands up. Okay, so we'll be behind you guys. We'll put our hands up. That's when you can try to beat him live, okay? It's not going to be right away, though. Okay? On my command.
Okay, what's Coach Kudaba doing here in drill number 3?
You're actually putting them all together now. So there's going to be feet, hands, and then it's going to put it into a realistic thing where the guy is going to try and make the move and try and beat him. So now it's to try and put all three of those things together. What a lot of young kids and even older kids happen, now everything speeds up because now they're doing everything together. Now they forget everything that you just taught them, and now it becomes they're trying to just survive out there. And that's, again, where film becomes really important. That's a great job there, is that you kind of put everything together now, that you're keeping your feet and get the hands going, and then when the guy's trying to beat you, it's still trying to maintain square shoulders.
As we've seen with most of the drills here today at this Team BC camp, this is a natural progression. You work from feet to hands, and then you put it all together. Good things work in threes, don't they?
Absolutely, and it's funny you say that because even here, because we're time crunched this weekend for the Team BC, but even our very first drill we were doing over with the U16s was we went into a stance. We went from a stance to first step, second baby steps, and we went all the way through. That's the life of an offensive lineman. We don't get to catch the ball. Most of our stuff is footsteps and punching, and it's repetition, repetition, repetition. So when it does speed up into competition, that it all comes together.
Side to side, side to side. That's it. Okay. There.